Welcome to the I Hate Critics Movie Review Podcast. I am professional film critic Sean Patrick. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
You know, when I think about our title, I Hate Critics, it kind of implies that since I'm the critic, you must be the person who hates me.
Sometimes. When you don't like Obsession or, you know.
I do like Obsession. I just don't like how Obsession made me feel.
Well, yeah.
There's a difference.
I have that same feeling about a movie that we're going to be talking about.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll get to that. Talk about some news first, though. Of course, Jeff, you want to tell people where they can get your art first?
Oh, sure. You can go to jefflassiter.com. That is my website. You can follow me on Instagram, which is Jeff Lassiter Pop Cult. I'm also on Threads. And if you want to come there and criticize me because of gay history, that would be fine, I suppose. So a friend of mine yesterday, he asked me if I would do a Golden Girls Pride thing. And I already had this design that, said Friends of Dorothy Sobornak from the Golden Girls. I just thought it was fun. I'm sure you're aware of what Friends of Dorothy means, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In case you're not and you're listening, that is what people would ask if they were closeted back in like the 50s and 60s. Are you a friend of Dorothy? Meaning, are you a friend of Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, aka Judy Garland, aka that era's Madonna? Very gay. So I did a take on that a few years ago for Golden Con, which was Friends of Dorothy, in parentheses, Zabornak. Well, my friend Tyson asked me to do if I had any Pride Golden Girls, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I could throw that together. So I did a Pride flag background and just put Friend of Dorothy. I did not put the Zabornak in parentheses, and I posted it. And it's actually one of my only organic threads that's ever gotten over 1,000 likes. And people are sharing it, whatever. And I had a couple people who were very upset that, not that Dorothy, that's not who that means. And that thing. And then
fuck's sake.
I think 3 people really went after me, 3 or 4 people. And of those people, 2 of them at least were straight.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Thank you for straight-splaining this to me. But I am a gay man in my 50s who has done a lot of research into, gay history and whatnot. And I'm well aware that this is Judy Garland's Dorothy. Okay, I'm well aware of it. But it's a play on it.
Yeah, that's the Simpsons meme.
Yeah.
Guy, that's the Simpsons meme. That's the joke. That is literally the joke.
Yeah, I literally had somebody who asked me to do this.
My God.
People will bitch about anything. And I told my friend Tyson, who I did it for, Tyson is straight. He gets called gay a lot because he loves the Golden Girls and Lana Del Rey and whatever. Met his wife. They're lovely people. But he was like, I can't believe people are actually doing that, especially straight people. I'm like, the fucking audacity. They don't have a clue, but they have the audacity. Okay. So yeah. If you want to come and criticize me about my gay history, bring it on.
Because it improves your engagement and may in fact sell you more art. So there you go.
Yes, you never know. You never know.
In this case, all publicity is good publicity.
Yes. I did put it on TeePublic, but I haven't looked to see if I've sold anything. Last month, my TeePublic sales for May were $1.25. So
I've heard though there are other places that are coming that are supposed to be more ethical, and as soon as they're ready to launch, I'll pass those along to you, because I've been hearing a lot of rumbling about people trying to get into that TeePublic style business, but do so ethically, which is not easy to do and make a profit, but they're trying.
I used to make a lot of money, and actually, the podcast used to make decent money on TeePublic but they changed their business model about 3 years ago. They bought Redbubble, or Redbubble bought them, or whatever, and they switched over to a two-tiered selling system where artisans and apprentices. And apprentices are the ones who all of a sudden, instead of making $2 on a t-shirt, I would make $1 on a t-shirt. Um, Instead of getting my stuff featured every once in a while, my stuff I would have to promote myself. Um, but podcasts like How Did This Get Made? People who just use clip art and don't actually hire a designer or whatever. And now it's AI. Um, yeah, some of those are artisans and they're getting like buku bucks. So I just can't
You just
imagine.
know there's a banking bro somewhere who came up with that idea.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
Lord
it's like
knows if they see something that's doing well, they can figure out a way to ruin it. That's just
literally
what they do.
the enshittification of art at every turn.
Yeah. Anytime
So,
anytime somebody from Wall Street decides to do something like this, they just ruin it. That's just everything they touch turns to shit.
and I just want to go on record to say your AI flyer looks like ass. And not even cute ass, like flat, flabby ass. Okay, thank you. Everybody's, not yours specifically, Sean.
Yeah. So that's what Jeff got going on. I've spent the past, I don't know, 3 weeks and all of my Saturday investigating a missing persons case. And it's movie related. I'm not, all I do is movie related, but,
Sean
those of us,
found Jimmy Hoffa.
I wish I think I could if I tried. No, we've been investigating in movies of the 80s the disappearance of Tammy Lynn Leppert, which the internet has kind of gotten this story a little wrong. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but like a lot of people have just kind of left this at Scarface and not really actually deep dived this thing because there is so much more to it than her having been in Scarface. The history of her family dates back to the mid 1960s in Florida. There are a lot of shady people in her life. But basically, on July 6th, 1983, she got into a car with a friend of hers. She told her mom, "I'll see you later," and never returned. The friend said he dropped her off at a bank, this glass bank building, which is a big place in Cocoa Beach, and that's where he last saw her. And most people believe that story because she did make a series of phone calls after he dropped her off that seemed to indicate that she was indeed by herself when she went missing. So we've been trying to piece together the information on her life, and what we found is just a shocking level of corruption was surrounding her. She was becoming paranoid about people trying to kill her. She was at home. She was telling her mom that I won't eat food that I don't see prepared. I won't drink anything that's already been opened. I think someone's trying to kill me. And I can't say that she wasn't, like she had some sort of major personality shift after she went to a party for the movie Spring Break because she was in that movie. She makes a cameo appearance. She's also the pair of hips that appear on the poster for the movie Spring Break, and she was only 17 years old, by the way.
Oh,
Um, yeah, the 80s, ladies and
Hollywood.
gentlemen. That yeah, she's the hips on the poster of Spring Break, and people had done so little research into this that people only said that most of the internet thinks it was just a rumor that it was her. But I actually tracked down the documentation of a actual movie executive who stated that is Tammy Lynn Leppert on the Spring Break poster. Even though a lot of people on the internet will continue to share that it's just a rumor. It's not. It's just the truth. But anyway, not the most important part of the story, just a part of the story because so many people haven't really taken the time to actually dig into this. And the thing about it is that it gets very dark and very shady. And there indeed was a great deal of corruption surrounding Tammy Lynn Leppert and surrounding people who she was very close to. And the police in Cocoa Beach have a lot of explaining to do about their role in this. It was the 80s, so departmental working together. She was from Rockledge, which is right next to Cocoa Beach. Like, like they're just their sister cities are right next to each other. Like, and they weren't sharing information. Nobody really wanted to look into it. And because she was 18 when she disappeared. And
Mhm.
when you're 18 and it's the 1980s and you just want to leave, you're an adult. You can just leave. Plus, there were rumors about her having trouble at home, which obviously, yeah, she did have trouble at home. So they just assumed that she was a runaway who was just going to go off on her own. And part of me, I can't blame the police for that. But on the other hand, they also just didn't do anything. Like after she was gone for more than 5 days, they just didn't like they let the guy who dropped her off, like they let that guy just not show up to 2 meetings. They called him, they said, "We'd like you to come to the station and have a conversation with us." He blew them off twice and they never spoke to him again.
Oh, nice.
The last person to see a missing person
Let
doesn't
me
get interviewed.
wait a
That's
minute, wait a
bad
minute.
police work.
Was
Sorry, it
he
is.
was he 'cause I Betty White.
What would ever give you that impression? And a banker, no less.
Well, yeah,
22 years old and he was a banker.
it was the '80s.
Nobody knows where he is now.
Oh,
There's absolutely no trace of this man on the internet, which I guess if you're somebody who's probably been subjected to some harassment or being the last person to see someone alive, you'd
yeah,
probably not want to be on the internet either. So I understand it. It's weird that there's zero trail of him, but it's still.
right?
There are so many weird things that people keep passing along this idea that Tammy Lynn's big break was on the cover of CoverGirl magazine. Oh, CoverGirl magazine? That must have something to do with the makeup company. No, it was a regional Florida magazine, and it was a paid appearance. She paid her parents paid her mother paid the magazine to put her in it. It was a regional magazine scam based off of the pageant scene in Florida. Um, but nobody bothered to look into this. So everybody just accepts that she was in this national magazine. It wasn't. It was a regional magazine, and the owner of that magazine is super shady. Super
Yeah,
fucking shady. Uh, but everybody in the story is. That's the thing. She has a genius 15-year-old adopted brother. I don't know. That's a weird story. Her her adopted brother moved in with them when he was 9 years old and became like the mom's favorite, even ahead of Tammy. And that is something that no one ever talks about. And the kid is weird. He's a weird kid. He's a weird kid. He claims that when he was 9 years old, he got a copy of Clockwork Orange and edited out the dirty parts so to make it a better movie. He was 9.
oh, and that man grew up to be Steven Spielberg.
I know he's just probably it was a lot of fabulism because that's Linda Curtis's thing. The mother is just she was a fabulist. She made up all kinds of stories. She claims that Tammy Lynn was in 480 pageants and she won 210 of them. And I can find zero documentation of any of it.
Mm,
I mean, not that many pageants get much news coverage, but some pageants do get some coverage, but I can't find any of them. I don't know. That's weird. It's all very
yeah,
weird. And the pageant business is hugely shady in Florida in the 70s and 80s.
it still is.
It's a massive rabbit hole, people, and honestly, I'm not even close to figuring out what happened to her. I just know that part of the narrative about her life has been so misconstrued by so many people that I feel it's important that somebody set the record straight and get the actual information out there.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
Yeah, and it truly is. I think the one thing that no one has ever been able to figure out is that on the day that she went missing, she told her friend she borrowed $300 from this friend who dropped her off. It was a guy, and they'd kind of been dating, maybe that's unclear, but uh, he loaned her $300, and she asked him to drive her to Fort Lauderdale, which is like 2 hours away, which he said he couldn't do because he had to get to work. And I think I know why she went to Fort Lauderdale. I can't prove it, but I have a reason that nobody else has really talked about, and we're going to get to that. Hopefully, once we have an ability to say with some certainty that this is what happened, which we're kind of close to doing.
Huh.
But that still wouldn't solve all that really did for me, though, Jeff. If that's actually true, if I know why she was going to Fort Lauderdale, it just likely means that she was hitchhiking and was murdered somewhere on the A1A
Oh,
and
well,
never
that's
found.
pleasant.
Yeah. So all these conspiracies and bad guys that are lurking around every corner in this story, and it may just come down to proving exactly what everyone thought from the beginning, that she went hitchhiking and it didn't go well for her.
Hmm. Well, that smells stinkowitz, as
Yeah.
Jar Jar would say.
Must you bring Jar Jar into every conversation?
Misa, love me some Jar Jar. Should I do the rest of the show like that? Welcome to the final episode of I Hate Critics.
I'd like you to do the rest of the show in Navi, please.
Well, of course. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about movies.
Movies? I thought we were here to talk. Never mind.
This is now a true crime podcast. No. Let's talk about the biggest movie of the weekend, because the box office is huge this weekend. Of course, Obsession overcoming Star Wars, which has left a lot of people shocked. The fact that Focus Features and A24 have the top 2 movies in America ahead of Disney is quite something.
4 movies. 4 movies. So,
but what did you, when you saw the box office numbers for Obsession, were you shocked?
After seeing it, no. I'm like the word of mouth on this movie is insane. And I honestly think that because of the fact that this Star Wars movie is it's a glorified TV movie, let's face it. I like it. I saw it again just just to see it. But it's kind of a TV movie, and that's fine. It's going to be on Disney Plus in a month or so. So it does not surprise me that Obsession has built this following and this word of mouth, and I would love to see it again, because there are so many theories going around that it has really lit a kind of fire under me to see it again. And it is still probably one of my favorite movies of the year. I've already started to kind of formulate a top 10. And that's way up there with Mother Mary.
Oh yeah.
I can't stop thinking about I Love Boosters. So it's like
our conversation really turned I Love Boosters into something else for me.
Yeah, I hearing people talk about how much they loved it. Now, one of the things that gets me about the quality of the movies that we're getting right now is that certain people and certain groups of people have to pit these movies against each other. And I get where it's coming from, and I get the impetus of doing that, but it's just, they're not, you don't have to pit them against each other. Just like what you like. There's always that. And it's not critics, it's regular Joe people who, well, I'm going to boost this one up because I like it, and it's this director, and, it's a little weird. And, I've heard a lot of people talking about Obsession as just misogynistic. And I don't think it's a misogynistic movie. I think it's shining a light on that. I Love Boosters.
It's accidental. It's the kind of incidental misogyny that all men, straight men mostly, take for granted. Like, we don't realize we're doing it, and we're doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the point of the fucking movie. I'm sorry. It's men who don't think they're misogynists being misogynists.
I'm a nice guy. Yeah, okay, you're nice until you don't get your way, you know? Um, yeah, just the discourse around it and is it's baffling to me. Just if you love a movie, love a movie. You don't
Uh-huh.
have to say this movie is better because it's this or it's and I went to the movies today after work and I mean people were still lining up to see Obsession. So, I heard more people
I'll make you
talking
a
about it.
promise right now. If our friend Bob goes to see Obsession, I will see it again and we can do a special one-off episode just on
I
Obsession theories.
would absolutely love that because yeah.
That is my promise to you. That is a promise to the listeners. If Bob goes to see it, I will see it again, and we will do an entire hour-long Obsession theories episode. Get on it, Bob.
Bob doesn't listen to the show. Oh, I'm kidding. I kid. I
uh,
kid.
But the movie that actually topped Obsession this weekend was Backrooms, directed by Kane Parsons, starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renate Reinsve, based off of the internet meme of the back room, which is a real place. Turns out, for many years, this photo had been floating around of this space, of this empty space, and it came to be called a liminal space. It's a place that exists both in reality and also kind of in a psychological realm where you start filling in the places, you start filling in the pieces of the room yourself. And once you start doing that, it kind of becomes absorbing, and that's where the backrooms thing comes up. It's actually the basement of a hobby shop in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So where the real backrooms are, which they didn't know for a long time. Even the owners they didn't actually really know that that's where the picture was taken. They'd taken that picture of it empty, and then they were using it for storage, and then they found out there was a whole internet culture trying to figure out where this picture came from.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a cool story. And Kane Parsons was among the many YouTubers who took that meme and used it to build their fantasy upon. And so he started creating YouTube videos about the backrooms, building his own lore and characters and whatnot. And that caught the attention of A24. And that's how we end up today with a backrooms movie. And this is what and I know this is not going to be popular to say because I know because it sounds a little buzzy, but I call this a vibes horror movie because this
Mhm.
is based solely just on the vibe that this movie gives off. There is not much of a story here, and I don't say that to criticize, because I love this movie. I think it's amazing. I think this is kind of an incredible film, just for the fact that it's a movie that is so enveloping in how it develops its horror. Every new scene, every new space is one that your mind gets to wander into and try and figure out, and then you have to run from that moment because something is coming to kill the character who's in that moment. It's incredibly well acted. Chiwetel Ejiofor plays Clark. He's a failed architect who runs a really shitty furniture store that is incredibly large and has absolutely no customers. And you're just kind of left to wonder how it is that he manages to stay open. He also has this out of control electric bill because he can't figure out what's using all of this electricity until one night, because he is so broke, he lives at his store, he sees a light in the basement, and the light is coming from the other side of a wall where there shouldn't be anything. He goes up to that wall and he ends up clipping right through it into the back rooms, where he sees just a big pile of furniture. There's a stop sign, and there's all these endless rooms, and a voice, multiple voices in various different languages, just repeating some sort of announcement that he can't make out. And that's where the kind of the terror of this whole thing begins. He's seeing a therapist, Dr. Mary, played by Renata Reinsve, who's got her own baggage to bring into this, but She ends up going to look for Clark after he disappears inside the Backrooms. He has told her that this is, he's been looking into this. She thinks he's having a psychotic break. But when he doesn't show up, she goes looking for him and ends up in the Backrooms. And there we get some of the most terrifying sequences in the film. I think this movie is incredible, Jeff. I love the cinematography. I love the architecture of the horror in this film. And I was just really, really impressed. This kid who made this is 20 years old, which is just
Yeah.
stunning to have this level of confidence and artistry. This is a movie that is incredibly bold. It's taking big, big chances in not developing a very straightforward, identifiable story. And you have to admire the fact that he got Chiwetel Ejiofor, Renate Reinsve, and Mark Duplass all to be in this movie, and just to go with him on this very unique vision.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay. You know how everybody, when like a Star Wars movie comes out, and I'm using that as an example because I know this so well. Everybody was like, "Oh, I hate having to," if you say, "Oh, well, this happened or this happened off screen or this happens in the books," and it's stuff that's not necessarily germane to the plot,
Mhm.
but it helps give you a little bit of a little bit more about what's going on. Okay. But it's not germane to the plot. You don't have to have known anything about it. I felt with the Backrooms that I had to have watched um the whole YouTube series in order to be super excited and get all um the Easter eggs and things like that. Now that being said, after the first like half of the movie, I kind of woke up a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you, I started to fall asleep a lot in the first half of this movie. Um, a part of it is just because my sleep schedule is all completely fucked up. Part of it is the fact that nothing is really happening until about halfway through when it starts to get exciting. And I felt like if I had known a little bit more of the lore, instead of going in blind like I've been trying to do lately with especially horror movies, if I had known a little bit of the lore, I might have perked up a little bit. Um, that being said, I will watch Chiwetel Ejiofor do just about anything on screen because he's so interesting as
Mm,
an actor.
mm,
Um, and the way they piece together his backstory a little bit, I thought was really interesting. Now, that does not mean that I didn't like the movie
uh-huh.
because there's some really disturbing shit in it and some really like exciting things that happen. And I I aside from not knowing any of the lore from before, and I couldn't understand why everybody was so excited to see this movie. I'm like, the trailer doesn't look all that great. But now knowing that there's this whole YouTube series and it's really closely based on a lot of that, um, that says to me, okay, I this is a movie that it would have been better served for me personally if I had gone and watched the stuff that happened before.
'Cause
Um,
I've never actually seen anything that Kane Parsons did before on YouTube. I know that he did it. I never watched any of it. I'm familiar with the meme and the story behind the meme, which is what I found fascinating, that people were looking
yeah.
for this thing, and I'm also fascinated by liminal spaces. This Backrooms, when you stare at this picture for a while, it's like one of those pictures from the '90s where, like, a picture would reveal itself if you stared at it long enough.
Oh, the
That's
magic
kind of the
eye.
idea behind a liminal space, is that if you look at it long enough, it seems like it's moving or shifting or changing, and that's basically just your perception drawing yourself into the photo. And that's what fascinated me about it. That and the search for this supposed lost media, because nobody knew where the picture came from, and there was this huge community of people searching to try and find the original Backrooms picture, and they found it in a hobby shop in Milwaukee, which was a very anticlimactic ending for such a dramatic story. So that's where
Yeah.
I'm coming from the that's all I really knew about the Backrooms going in, and I like I said, I found it fascinating, especially the ending just kind of just left me just floored. It's such a bold choice. That ending is so bold and so different, and so that image has stayed in my head since I saw it in the best possible way. I was just I that really that hit me. Everything that Renate Reinsve does, just I could watch her do anything, and she's just so riveting. And to see her in that final moment was like, oh my god.
Yeah. I I like a little bit of explanation for why shit is happening. So, for to have absolutely nothing, and you think that when Mark Duplass comes in and starts talking to her, that you're gonna get what's going on, but instead he's just
Uh-huh.
like, "We don't know what's going on. We have no idea." And I'm like, "Are we gonna find out? Because this movie's runtime is getting close." And I it I don't I guess, yes, I know that you don't always need an explanation, but, some sort of something to grasp is good for me. So,
If I were to parse this, if I were to dig deep and to kind of give it a meaning that I found within it, and I prefer actually to I prefer the vibes version where I'm just kind of experiencing it. So I haven't really dug deep on this, but there is an aspect of it to where, and especially when it comes through in Clark's arc, that this is about broken people getting trapped in their own heads. Essentially,
mhm,
the Backrooms becomes what it is that you're trapped within. So if you find yourself stuck in life, like Renata Reinsve's character is stuck in this memory of her mother, and her mother having this massive nervous breakdown, and her going from her mother's home to various different places and overcoming that, but not overcoming that. Then you've got Clark, who is an alcoholic who blew up his marriage, generally not a good guy. He's failed at being an architect, even though he claims to still be an architect. He is lost in his own head, and that's really where we go in the center portion of the film. Is we're watching a man get stuck, but also kind of like, well, I like being alcoholic, resentful, and overly righteous. This is a nice place for me to be. I've become comfortable here. That's dark and disturbing, and I love that as kind of the depth of his character. At the same time, I enjoy the vibes of this movie even more. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think everything works. On a technical level, I think Obsession is more successful. I just don't like
mhm.
the I just don't like how Obsession made me feel. So I'm not going to say this is a better movie than Obsession. I'm saying this is a very good movie in and of itself.
Yeah, yeah. And I the as I think about it, and, I did start to watch the series, and that made some that kinda, like, got me into the vibe of it, and I think, again, if I think I'll wait when it starts streaming. I will have watched most of the series, and then I'll be able to, like, appreciate it a little more.
Oh,
So,
all right.
I don't know.
Well, we'll circle back to this one maybe on another episode.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get Bob to see this, and then we'll add it to the Obsession episode. Then we'll join the internet and go, it's Obsession versus Backrooms. Which one wins?
Right? Oh, no, it's I Love Boosters versus Obsession. That's
Oh,
the
excuse me.
current one. Yeah, it's, you know and I love both of them. They are right now, they are in my top 5, both of them, so I don't get the
That's weird. That's
yeah.
a weird comparison to make. But all right, sure. You could just love both of them. I mean, it's really
It's yes, it doesn't have to be a competition at
I
all.
I assumed the line was being drawn between 2 different horror movies.
No, well, no, it's
Weird. What a weird divide. Like, why were you even arriving at that comparison?
well, uh,
Oh, that's not an aspect that I wanna talk about.
nope, not me either.
Alright then.
Well, let's move
Ah,
on.
Yeah, let's do that. Why don't you tell us about the movie you tricked me into watching, this piece of shit octopus movie?
I don't know what you're talking about. I watched a very touching, moving, wonderfully performed movie about an octopus and families coming together that was based on an equally good book. And I also got teared up, but I didn't cry like a bitch. You're much more in touch with your emotions than I am, though.
I'm far too in touch with my feelings for this movie, that's for sure. But go ahead and tell us about the movie, Jeff.
Well, Remarkably Bright Creatures stars Sally Field and Lewis Pullman. And Sally Field plays Tova, who is a cleaning lady in an aquarium um, in the Pacific Northwest. And she meets and befriends an octopus voiced by Alfred Molina named Marcellus, who is one of the most beautifully rendered CGI creatures I have ever seen.
Uh-huh.
Um, and he knows that she's missing something. He knows, he calls it out like that she has a hole in her heart. And we know now that octopuses are just incredibly intelligent beings. And, if they had the ability to talk, we could, it would be a game over. Um, and we think that when he says that she has a hole in her heart, that she actually has a hole in her heart. But no, she is missing her son who disappeared 20 some years before. She has no idea what happened to it. She is in the process of deciding what she wants to do with the rest of her life, what's left of it. And she has decided to move into a retirement community, one that none of her friends think is a very good idea because of its reputation. And along the way, she meets Lewis Pullman's character, who has come to town looking for his father. Um, he's going to confront the man that he has sussed out as his father and ask why he left his mother. And along the way, he meets somebody. Tova is deciding what she wants to do, and the whole time, Marcellus the octopus is giving us insights into these characters that not even they know about because he's
Uh-huh.
so observant and all he can do is observe. And it is incredibly touching. The performances by Sally Field and Lewis Pullman. I told Sean offline that I think he is becoming one of my favorite actors. Um, there's the scene towards the end when he discovers a truth, and she just sits and looks at him and holds onto his arm as he breaks down. And just that is one of the best scenes I've seen in years, as far as acting goes. Not acting, but just quiet acting. And you believe it so much. And I know this has been out for a few weeks, but I just got access to it and I wanted to watch it. And um, I made Sean cry. So
It's interesting. Lewis Pullman is incredible, and he did the same. He did the same kind of. He brought the same kind of emotional depth in the most unexpected place in Thunderbolts. He was this amazingly different energy in a superhero movie, and that's why he's part of the reason why I will stand by Thunderbolts and say that's a really good movie because the emotional depth that he brings to this character that shouldn't have this much emotional depth because it's a comic book movie. But it's there, and if you embrace it, you realize Thunderbolts is really good. This movie is incredible. Sally Field is amazing. Anytime she doesn't do very much anymore these days, but when she does, my God, she's just incredible. There's never a moment where she settles into that trope of a old lady doing young people things. Like
yeah,
you never there's nothing tropey about her performances. She's so real in everything that she does. I feel like I know like a Tova in my own life, somebody who she doesn't need to work. She just does because there's nothing else to do. Like she really likes where she does it. She cleans this aquarium and she really loves doing it. She loves the creatures and the solitude of being there, but it's also, the solitude is kind of what she's put herself into to avoid the rest of her life, which is, beautifully realized in one of the most incredible casts I think we've ever seen in a
Yeah.
Netflix movie. I mean, it's her and Molina's voice and Lewis Pullman, but you also have Cole Meany, Kathy Baker, Joan Chen, Laura
That's great.
Harris, just all just doing these just incredible, just delivering these incredible performances and just creating this whole world around her, this small town where everybody knows everything and is constantly talking about everyone. And I've seen that trope before, but never really done this well. Like, it's really,
Right.
oftentimes it feels so much like a bad episode of Gilmore Girls when other movies try to do this. This never feels like that. This feels like these are real people who just talk a lot.
Mhm.
I really appreciated that. And the way this movie just earns the idea that we get to hear this octopus speaking in the voice of Alfred Molina. It's one of the most. I mean, I would put this right next to the character from Ryan Gosling's movie. Fuck from this year.
Oh,
The
yeah.
the
Oh,
alien
yeah.
creature.
Project
Yeah,
Hail Mary. Yeah.
yeah, right up there. They're both, like, so incredibly realized, and this one is probably even better than that. But the idea that you just willingly accept because it's just so it's what the way he speaks is so beautiful, and so it just feels so real.
Yeah.
Not and more than just that way that we all kind of anthropomorphize animals that we love, it feels just even more than that, for some reason. It's beautifully done. Every character in this, it also earns just these big emotional moments that other movies would very easily fumble. I can't imagine like it take the effort and technique it takes to pull off this ending the way they do. I I think is just so underrated because
Yeah.
I think so many other movies have tried this and they come off as very melodramatic, and it feels like that's what the script was forcing them to get to. This never feels like the script is forcing them towards anything, and I was just I was blown away. I've this director, I'm familiar with some of her work, but this is the first one where I've really seen just her incredible technique. Olivia Newman is an absolute star as a director. I can't wait to see what she does next because this is phenomenal.
And yeah, it does not this could be super saccharine. And I thought when I read the book that it I knew the movie was coming out before. My boss was telling me about it, and she was like, "Oh, I just read this book. You should read it." I listened to it, and I knew who was. I looked it up on IMDb because I thought this. I started it,
Mhm.
and I was like, "This would be a really good book or a really good movie." And so I looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's coming out in like a month and a half. All right, cool." So I was able to, kind of picture who was who. Um, and I I think part of it is the book by Shelby Van Pelt was so sweet and just like the movie, it was very not saccharine. It kind of almost got there a couple times where you're just like, um, oh, okay, but it always pulled itself back. And I feel
Mhm.
like that is exactly what the movie does. It pulls itself back from the brink of kind of parody by the performances, especially, Sally Field, she can do no wrong. I mean, come on.
Mhm.
Like, I could see her getting an Oscar nomination for this if it was in theaters at all.
Absolutely.
Um,
No question.
she's just so good and just so right in all her choices.
Yeah.
Um, and that look that she's giving Lewis Pullman when he's doing his big scene it's like the most supportive thing, and if you look at it, like, from her character, she's being so supportive. If you're looking at it from Sally Field, she's being super supportive of a fellow actor. That it kinda transcends the material even.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think that the underrated performances of like Cole Meany, who will forever be the British Airways pilot in Die Hard 2 for me. I don't, I've always just I'm like, oh, I know that guy from Die Hard 2. Um, you know, Kathy Baker, who she turns anything into art, and Beth Grant is in this,
Mhm.
who I actually kind of want to do a deep dive and watch every theatrical thing she's ever been in, because she's just got that face and that demeanor, and the best line in Donnie Darko ever.
Hmm.
I'm starting to doubt your God, I can't even think of it now. Your dedication to sparkle motion. You just she's great. And I just think that everybody plays their part so well and makes sure that it never goes there, to
Mhm.
where you're just rolling your eyes at it. Um, the only time I rolled my eyes was at the very end when they were getting a little misty because they were just so good. They're sitting on that bench and I'm going, "Oh god, am I gonna cry? Am I gonna cry? Please don't let me cry. I don't want to cry at this movie." But yeah, it's just
No, I cried. Real,
yeah.
like real genuine tears, like real ones, big ones.
Mm,
It was that moving. It was just that
yeah.
moving. I couldn't help it. I couldn't fight it. And
Mhm.
I got to shout out Kathy Baker because like that she gets one scene in this movie and she just takes that scene and turns I mean it's almost the most pivotal moment in the film.
Mhm.
and and to for her to do that just so late in the film and be such an important aspect of it when she was almost a comic character
Yeah.
leading up to that, it's just a testament to how brilliant she is, but how brilliant this whole enterprise is. I mean, this is one of the best casts we've seen in a movie this year. Overall performances are just phenomenal. It's one of the best movies of the year.
Yeah. I agree.
It's not Mother Mary, but I mean,
Nothing is
only
Mother
you and I have
Mary.
seen that movie, so
And I try to get my friend, because it was back here at the Last Picture House for
Mhm.
like 2 weekends, and I told my friend who I had mentioned to before, "You have to see this movie," and he was like, "Oh yeah, I really want to see it." And I don't know if he saw it. I'm like a little pissy because he got the chance to see the best movie of the year.
We did what we could, A24. You fucked this up, not us.
Yep, 100%.
Release
Yeah.
They should do what they did back in the '80s and re-release Mother Mary on a double bill with Backrooms. So you get to
Mhm.
see Backrooms and stay for Mother Mary, or you get to
Yeah,
see Mother Mary and stay for Backrooms.
exactly.
I mean, that's how they got, a lot of movies over back in the '80s. Got that little rub.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, I love this movie. You love this movie, so it's a good week, Jeff. It's a very good
Yeah,
week
it has been
because we
very
watched
good.
in my opinion, another really great movie that I really didn't expect to be very good, called Pressure. Pressure stars Brendan Fraser in a role that just doesn't seem like a Brendan Fraser role. He's playing Dwight D. Eisenhower just before D-Day. Uh, we're approaching D-Day, the invasion of France, the biggest day, the turning point of World War II, and he needs a forecast. And he turns to James Stagg, played by Andrew Scott, who is recommended to him by Winston Churchill as the best meteorologist in Britain. And he's incredibly good at his job. And that doesn't sound like it would be amazingly dramatic. And indeed, the trailer is bad, which was really
Yeah.
unfortunate because the trailer really makes it seem like the weatherman is going to be like the difference maker in all of this. And it's like he's just telling you what the weather is. And really,
Mhm.
once you get down into it in the movie, Andrew Scott this is what the weather is. I can't make it what it's not. It's going to be this, and that's it. And then various different things emerge to make this what it is. Um, Andrew Scott is one of the most incredible actors on the planet. The man can do no wrong. He takes this character of a meteorologist and he just commits deeply to being such a dick. Just this complete prick because he's absolutely right about everything and he knows it and his confidence is his confidence is incredible. At the same time, he's capable of breaking down his own barriers and kind of letting people in for a moment and give them an insight into why this is so serious for him, because he's very serious about not wanting people to die in a horrific storm trying to get to the most important battle in the history of World War II. And so he has every right to be as serious as he is. He is matched by Chris Messina as Irving Crick, who is the American meteorologist, but not really a meteorologist. He's just a guy who kind of likes charts. He was the guy kind of given the gig of being a meteorologist, and he happens to be right based off of a lot of different modeling. But modeling by 1944 was kind of an outdated way of doing the weather. And Andrew Scott's kind of on the cutting edge of how they do it now. And that dynamic, especially with how, lighthearted Chris Messina kind of plays his character, which I understand. A lot of people deal with this kind of pressure, if you will, in different ways. And I understand trying to be as unserious as possible in a very serious situation. It's how some people deal with this kind of thing. And that realistic dynamic is really what makes Pressure so interesting to me and what makes the drama of this work so incredibly well. You're kind of wondering, well, how are they going to pull this off? I mean, everybody who's familiar with history knows how this story plays out. We invade, in the midst of kind of a storm, and so we know that's going to happen. How is this going to play out? Spoiler alert: Nazis are idiots. How it's going to play it, but they do manage to make this very dramatic and very moving, and I was really impressed. It's been a while since I've seen a World War II movie that just isn't repeating itself. This felt fresh because of this angle about the weather, and they kept it contained to that story, and they didn't overdo it. They didn't over dramatize it. They told that story very specifically, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, I kept thinking, God, this would be a good play. It was based on one. Um, so yeah, it would be. Yeah, I thought the performances were amazing in it. It was not a long movie, which I really appreciate these days. So I could actually see it for the show.
Right, especially for a World War II movie. I mean, so
Yeah,
much they oftentimes, dedicate, over 3 hours for these things, and this doesn't need 3 hours.
literally an hour and 40 minutes in and out the door. When you were talking about it last week, I was like, oh God, this is going to be like 3.5 hours, and it's just going to be them in a room bitching at each other. And I looked it up today because I'm like, I wonder if I can, after work, can I get to see it um, before we record? And it's like an hour and 40 minutes. What? Holy shit. Okay. Well, let's give it a try. And I was glad I did. The story goes by really quickly. The the characters are also contained that and well acted, so you don't need a lot of you don't need a lot of backstory on everybody.
Mhm.
So I appreciated that we know who Eisenhower was, and we get to know who Stag is really quickly. So yeah, I thought it was just kind of a perfect war movie. Didn't have to be um 3 hours long to get to the point that war is bad. And it really wasn't even about war being bad. It was about how people are fallible, and that you don't have to that people that go to war are just kind of everyday people. And some of them are a
Mhm.
little smarter than others. Some of them are um a little less a little more strident in their views about the way things should go.
Mhm.
I'm thinking Damian Lewis,
Oh, yeah.
who
Mhm.
he is so repellent in this movie. I don't think I'm not a big I can't watch him very much anyway lately, but he's just got this reptilian look about him in this movie with that little mustache and
Mhm.
his little steely eyes, and I'm just like, ugh, why don't you go out and get on the front lines? But
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I feel that, and yeah, it's interesting what you're pointing out there about fallibility and the humanity of these characters. And one of the things about Eisenhower is that he's kind of a mythic figure. Especially his war stories are treated as these great, massive myths. And one of the things that Brendan Fraser does incredibly well, and it kind of works in the casting of Brendan Fraser, is to give him a human dimension that
Hmm.
I don't think we've ever seen before on screen. I don't think we've
Yeah.
seen much of Eisenhower on screen, but in terms of making him feel like just a human being, Brendan Fraser captures that brilliantly. And there's sort of an ingeniousness to the idea of casting him in this role because it doesn't feel like a Brendan Fraser role. And it shouldn't, because he's really giving you a very different view of Eisenhower, a man who wasn't always certain, but was incredibly passionate and smart about what he wanted to do.
Right. And it took me a couple scenes to really get into this is not Brendan Fraser, this is Eisenhower. But once I got in that headspace, he was literally I didn't think of him as Brendan Fraser anymore.
It melts
I was
away.
just
That
yeah,
persona melts away.
yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, wait a minute. No, he's I really believe that he is Eisenhower." And um okay, let's go with it. Uh
You
the
should also
fact
mention,
that
of course, you put anybody in a scene with Carrie Condon and they're going to get better.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Everybody is elevated being across from her. She's incredible.
and she lost she I didn't even realize it was her until later in the movie. She just is so well kinda cast and loses herself in the role. So, yeah, I surprisingly liked this because 'cause I'm not a big war movie fan, and
Uh-huh.
the fact that this was it reminded me of the character studies in Oppenheimer in a way.
Yeah. Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
the big the big stuff is in the background, and it's more about the people, just like Oppenheimer was. So,
Yeah, great
yeah.
comparison. Great comparison to this. Um, yeah, terrific movie. I'm sure no one will go see it, but it's worth seeing if you do see it. I know I for many no, for many years I always thought of war movies as like homework. They always look like
Yeah.
homework. They always feel like they're going to be homework. Some of them really are homework. Uh,
Mhm.
because they feel like somebody's report on World War II, and you're just kind of like, ah. But this never feels like that for a second because
No,
these performances are just top notch.
100%. Really
Can't say that
great.
about our classic though, Jeff.
Yeah,
What are you doing with our classics these days, Jeff?
I wanna watch 80s horror movies. So I was going with, because of because, Backrooms takes place in a showroom basement, I thought, "Well, let's do something with, shopping or whatever," so I picked Chopping Mall, or Killbots, or many other names that it went by in the process. Um, yeah, this is a dumb not and it's not even a slasher movie, it's a sci-fi movie. So, with some pretty, like, okay deaths, but deaths that aren't shown, you know? It's like, they skimped on the gore. Um, but that being said, I will say that the cast, genuinely like a lot of the cast members. Russell Todd, who made me gay when he was Jamie Frame on Another World. I told him that to his face, by the way, at a convention that we both
How
did.
did he take that?
He laughed. He goes, "That's awesome." I think he might be, but I'm not 100% sure. But he thought it was awesome, and to the point where I saw him at a convention 2 years later, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" He's like, "Hey, still gay?" And I was like, "Still am." Yeah, he remembered me. I guess I made an impression. Um, Kelly Maroney, who is one of my favorite '80s horror movie actors, sci-fi actors.
Mhm.
and just an absolutely wonderful person. She's just so great. Barbara Crampton, who's a scream, one of the OG scream queens. Tony O'Dell from Heathers, which we discussed a couple weeks ago. Just and then of course the best part of the movie, Paul Bartel and Mary Warrenoff as Paul and Mary Bland from the actual classic Eating Raoul,
Yeah, actually,
playing the
this is
same.
just a Trojan horse to talk about eating Raoul. So let's get to our
Yes.
real classic.
Oh, fine by me. Yeah,
They're
they
incredible. They show up in the opening scene, and there's this rule that it's an unwritten rule, but it's a good rule of thumb for any movie. Anyone making a movie, don't reference a better movie in your movie because you're not going to. Because basically, I just sat there going, "Are Paul and Mary coming back?"
right?
No, no, they're not. They
No, they're
never come
not.
back. Although
Unfortunately.
I did read that they were supposed to, and it's really bummed me out to hear there was supposed to be a scene that was in the script where Paul and Mary come back. They sneak into the mall before the lockdown, and they're sneaking a horse into their restaurant so they can butcher it to serve to people.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
And Roger Corman said no because the horse cost too much.
Yeah, that sounds about like Roger Corman. Oh,
The reason this movie doesn't work, Jeff, is because Jim Wynorski's a creep. He just is. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about making this movie. He doesn't care about. He's just not. He has no control over the movie, and uh, he just wants boobs. He just wants to put boobs on screen as much as possible, and that's what he wants. Boobs and butts. He's gonna put the camera right on Barbara Crampton's ass and just leave it there. And like if he could if that could be the entire movie for him, that would be the entire movie. But he's a creep, and he whatever fun I could have watching this, he kind of just robs it from me.
yeah. Yeah, just I mean, it's one of those movies where you turn it on and you start watching it and you get distracted by your phone or in my case making a Cujo sticker or, like and then you when you feel like the action's ramping up a little bit, you watch the person die, and then you go back. So,
Hmm.
yeah. Again, literally the only things I liked about it were the interplay between Barbara Crampton and Kelly Maroney. Um, they're friends in real life, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, just I don't
Kelly
know.
Maroney is lovely, and I liked her and Tony O'Dell's burgeoning relationship. The sweetness to that was nice, and the fact that they're the only ones who don't get killed is kind of nice.
Yeah,
Although I don't think anybody really got treated well by this movie.
yeah,
I mean, at the very least, Kelly Maroney get to keep her top on. Good for her. You
this is
know,
true.
she's the only one. Because this is a mall that apparently has like a fucking women's locker room with showers, so we can have a shower scene in this fucking movie for some reason. You know those mall showers that all the mall kids used back in the day when they worked at the mall.
Hmm.
Didn't you? You used the mall shower when you worked at the mall, didn't you?
All the time. Yeah, constantly.
It's certainly not because Jim Wynorski's a pervert who just wanted to look at boobs. That's not it at all, guys. This is how real malls work. Uh, Dick Miller's in this movie for no reason. Why they bothered with Dick? Don't even hire Dick Miller. Just spend that on the horse and give me more Mary and Paul.
Yeah. Well,
Including Dick Miller,
apparently the
but you're not
reason
using your Dick Miller at all. So why have him there?
yeah. Apparently it was because the the guy the director and writers they liked him so they wanted to put him in the movie so they wrote that for him. So,
You know, what's fun is that that is the story of literally most of Dick Miller's '80s career. Is just people
yeah.
really like him.
Yep.
A lot of the time, you can find this out by watching. If you watch Red Letter Media, you know that Dick Miller will just pop up places, and it's just because everybody loves Dick Miller.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I remember him mostly from Gremlins, but then going back and seeing some of the stuff he did, it's like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah. Apparently, like in all the Corman movies and up to this one, he was playing the same character he played in Bucket of Blood.
Yep, yep.
That's the Corman lore, is that all of his characters are a version of that character from Bucket of Blood.
You know what's funny? It's like, okay, I was actually talking about something like that today. I'm just gonna do a quick aside because I feel like we should do a whole episode where we come up with backstories for people. Do you remember Adventures in Babysitting?
Oh yeah, yeah. Elizabeth Shue,
Uh,
wonderful film,
yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
film,
Okay,
underrated.
so did you ever watch CSI?
Yes, of course. Mhm.
Okay, you know how she was on that as Julie later in the series?
Yeah, great addition. She was terrific,
Yeah,
actually.
she was great. My story for that is that Julie paid her way through forensic school with some of the money that she got for posing nude 20 years before in Playboy. And she was actually the model that was in the Playboy magazine that everybody thought was Chris. So make of that what you will. But I just thought, oh, you know what? Why not?
Why not? That's a fun story. I like that. I like
So, you
that.
know, and it kind of goes with the whole Bland's in Shopping Mall. And yeah.
There
Mm,
was a lot of people tried to, I guess, spread around the idea that like Paul Bartel was trying to schmooze Roger Corman into paying for an Eating Raoul sequel by being in Shopping Mall, but
mhm.
apparently he just did it because he likes Roger Corman, and that's kind of the case with a lot of people who like Roger Corman. They just do things when he asks them to.
Well, they had in '89 they were going to make a sequel to Eating Raoul, Bland Ambition. And then Vestron Video pulled out at the very last minute.
Mm,
And then
fucking
Paul
Vestron.
Bartel said, I think we got somebody else to do it. And then he died the next day. So
Oh, that is a
what a
bummer.
loss. Yeah. Mm,
There's a loss because
what a,
Eating Raoul is wonderful. It's
it
so
really is.
it is just like just two people who don't belong in a horror movie making a horror movie and just doing so
Hmm.
with just the most dark, sardonic humor imaginable. Uh,
Yeah.
and the chemistry between him and Mary Warnoff. I mean, you can see it in this movie. Just how comfortable they are together. The eye roll is so funny. And it's probably funny just because I've seen Eating Raoul, but it's very funny just in and of itself. Their weird
Yeah.
questions that they ask during the asking about the robots were fucking great. They're just stealing the entire movie, and the multi you could tell the editor knew what he had because he keeps cutting to them in that scene, even
Oh,
though none of our main
100%.
characters are in that scene. Uh, they keep cutting to Paul and Mary for all these various different reactions, and they nail it every time.
Yeah. If they had been like the people that ran the mall or something, would have
Mhm.
just been perfection. Or that if they had
But
been able to get the horse, that would have been even better. What a what a
oh,
that's
that would have been just that was the scene this movie that was the secret sauce that this movie was missing.
well, and if the movie had been half as good as that opening scene, it would have
Yeah,
just been
it just I mean, you start off with that level of, like, comic genius, and then you just slip down to boobs and butts. It just
yeah,
it doesn't work. It does not work at all.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I enjoy boobs and butts, don't get me wrong. I'm a red-blooded straight white guy. I love boobs and butts, but when you promise me Paul and Mary and you give me Paul and Mary, I want more Paul and Mary.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, we'll have to do a Paul and Mary retrospective at some point because
Is there more? Because 'Cause I've only seen this in Eating Raoul.
well, I mean, we can like them as actors.
Ah,
So, This also had Garrett Graham in it. I don't know if you're.
What the fuck was he even doing here? Garrett Graham's
You know what?
amazing. What the
These
fuck
guys,
happened?
these guys, they got people they wanted to work with. I will give them that. Um,
Fire
it's
this cast of boobs and butts and just give me Garrett Graham interacting with the Blands. Give me that. That movie is amazing. Fire Jim Wynorski, let Paul Bartel direct, give him Garrett Graham, and make that movie in your mall.
Yep. Yep. Or like if Paul and Mary had opened a country kitchen in that mall and been completely oblivious to what was going on with the killbots,
I mean,
that would have been
and
funny.
I mean, even when I first saw them, I started building the lore of like, okay, so how did they get from the restaurant to here in this mall?
Yeah. Well, they're obviously so successful at the country kitchen that they can afford to invest in the mall. So
They're franchising it the mall. I love it. I love it. That's just, and it just overwhelms everything of the rest of Chopping Mall. Doesn't matter. I can't even
oh
bother to
yeah,
think
yeah,
about the rest of Chopping Mall.
yeah. And you know what? I wish that Mary Warrenoff like wasn't a recluse at this point because I would
Mm.
just love to have the opportunity to interview her and ask her about this. You know what? Why? Just why?
She's the only person of the two of them that spoke about it. Paul Martell never spoke about why they did this. She's the
Yeah,
source of, and she's very funny when she was interviewed by the AV Club. I think back in '99, she said, "I don't even remember. Was I in that movie?
yeah,
What did I do?" She was being flippant, but then she was the source that said that, well, Paul wanted to do a favor for Roger Corman, and we did it.
yeah. Oh well, next week we've already got a classic picked out.
It's not going to get any better, folks.
I know, but I've never seen it. I've never seen it. The best thing about the movie, though, I hear, is the poster by Drew Struzan. So, um, yeah, next week we have Masters of the Universe coming up. So that will be
Starring
our
Dolph
classic as
Lundgren,
well.
of course, is what we're talking about.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I
there's that
got
other
yeah.
new Masters of the Universe thing too.
hmm I gotta say, I do
Or
like some of the viral marketing that they're doing with Dolph Lundgren, just kind of leaning into the fact that he was in this turkey. So
I'm not aware of that.
yeah, there's a thing where him and Nicholas Galitzine they're walking up to the I think it's a theater or something. I just remember and they kind of look at each other. It's like, oh yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool that
Hey,
he
yeah,
used to
don't run from it. So
yeah.
yeah.
So but yeah. So what else we got coming up? Anything?
He-Man Masters of the Universe is coming out, and nobody wants to talk about it being He-Man. No one wants to mention the fact that he's He-Man because everybody's
Mhm.
embarrassed to say He-Man.
Yep. All these yeah, so many of
You
these
know his
guys.
alter ego's name other than
Adam.
He-Man? Yes. Prince Adam of Eternia, by the way.
Oh, okay. I was a little old
Scary.
for He-Man.
Okay. I was not. I played with all sorts of He-Man. And what you know as a kid is that you never bother to ask why this guy runs around in a fur bikini with like a chest plate and that's it.
Yeah. Have you
You
seen
never
the
bother to ask that for some
have you
reason.
seen there's a meme, somebody just they did a drawing of it and he's shaving off the fur loincloth. He said it was never a loincloth.
No. That's that sounds like some AI thing.
No, no, literally somebody did this a few years ago. They drew this with him
Ah.
shaving it off. It was pretty funny.
Scary movies also coming out. I can't guarantee that I'm going to find time for that. There is another movie that's coming out that I'm absolutely going to see because it might be one of the best movies of the year because it's John Carney directing Paul Rudd in a music movie called Power Ballad. I've been waiting for this movie forever. Paul Rudd's incredible, and John Carney, the director of Once, the director of Sing Street. He's never missed. Begin Again with Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo. Those were all incredible films. And I cannot wait to see Power Ballad. I was supposed to go see it 2 weeks ago when they had a preview screening, and I couldn't get there. And I'm just so bummed out. But it's coming this weekend, and that to me is going to be a much higher priority than seeing a scary movie because the marketing of scary movies is just bullshit.
Kind of offensive in itself. You know what I just
I'm
found
offended
out?
by you, scary movie.
You know what I just found out we are getting on the 12th?
What?
Stop That Train. Have you heard of this? It's a movie where RuPaul plays the female president, and there's let me read you the synopsis because it is ridiculous, and it's basically. Have you ever watch RuPaul's Drag Race?
No, I just know what you talk about it.
Okay, so basically they do these really terrible skits and none of the drag queens can really act, but they do these acting challenges sometimes. I haven't watched the show in a couple seasons just because it's so repetitive, but back in the day when it was fun and they had some really good queens on it, they would do these acting challenges and they were just terrible but funny in a, like terrible way. Um the the drag queens that star in this are Ginger Minge, who I have met and is very, very nice. We did sit down at Golden Con a little bit. And Jujubee, who is one of the more talented, fun drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race. They play two stewardesses and they must save the day when a catastrophic storm threatens to derail a high speed train. So it's like drag queens on a train.
And that's
So
opening the same day as Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day.
talk about counter programming. But we are getting, I can't believe that is actually not just a World of Wonder TV movie. It is actually coming to the Quad Cities.
Yeah. Yeah. That's wild. That is
Yeah.
wild.
So gird your loins. That's all I'm going
All
to
right,
say.
Jeff. Thank you.
Have a good night. It is Babe,
Next
isn't
week.
it?
What?
It is Babe, isn't it?